again. Welcome on back, everyone, on this another beautiful day. It's the same day for me, but so don't need to worry about it. It's a different day for you. And I hope it's a great one. Hope that it's treating you well. Let's move on into the next two tracks off of the Beatles' White Album here. We're going to listen to Blackbird and Piggies. Two animals of two different sorts, one in the mud, one in the clouds. Let's go ahead and give them a listen. First, we'll talk about Blackbird. Well, first we'll listen to Blackbird. Then we'll talk about it. Also a really good Alter Bridge album. Let's go ahead and get into it. Here we go.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
I love that little twang you hear with the guitar.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
Okay, I have a few questions really quick. First of all, absolutely beautiful, sentimental song. This is one of those songs that I could see being played at someone's funeral. Whether the lyrics are sad, happy, but just listen to the emotion that he's singing with. Like, that to me, it's sadness. I didn't really pay attention to the lyrics fully, but that to me denotes sadness, but perhaps also a little bit of hope. I'm curious about the bird calls in there because, like, they sound like bird calls, but at the same time, it kind of sounded like whistling. Maybe I'm just dumb. Maybe I'm not a bird watcher, or what's the scientific name for a bird watcher? Starts with an O, maybe. But it sounded kind of like bird sound effects, but then it started sounding like whistling. I don't know. This is one of those tracks that the power is in the words and the way that it's sung. I guess like any other song. But I guess to me, how simply stated is that guitar? It's gorgeous to listen to. I love when you can hear the twanging of the strings in there. It's like a very soft and gentle folk song, just kind of laying you down the stream. And the singing on top of it, just kind of singing the story about the blackbird, whatever the blackbird represents. There's a moment of pause, perhaps a moment of reflection, and then gets right back into it. Now, what I thought was kind of interesting, and this is just me speaking from a first time listening to this, when that pause happened, we still had about, I want to say 20 seconds left in the track. And I was like, okay, a pause. Maybe now when they come back in, the drums are going to come back, bass is going to come, like other instruments are going to be added to make this final run, this final marathon, this final lap that much more powerful. I was wrong, but I was wrong in two ways. Because I was wrong in that, yes, that did not happen. But I was also wrong because it didn't need that to be just as powerful and majestic as it, I guess, could have been if those things were added in. It said and stated all the facts that it needed to, and none of the power was lost. As a matter of fact, probably more was gained in the way that was done. So I think that that's very, very incredible. Blackbird singing in the dead of night, take these broken wings and learn to fly. Take these broken wings. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night, take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you are only waiting for this moment to be free. So, we need to see what the blackbird represents. As I hinted at before, let's look into the Wikipedia article here. It says it was written by McCartney and credited to Lennon McCartney. When discussing the song, McCartney said that the lyrics were inspired by hearing the call of a blackbird in Rishikesh, India, and by the racial tension in the southern United States. Let's see if we can get deeper into that. It says... well, this is him discussing it actually directly. I had been doing some poetry readings in the last year or so because I got a poetry book called Blackbird Singing. And when I would read Blackbird, I would always try and think of some explanation to tell people. This is him talking about this in 2002, by the way. So I was doing explanations, and I actually just remembered why I'd written Blackbird. I was in Scotland playing on my guitar, and I remembered this whole idea of you were only waiting for this moment to arise was about, the black people's struggle in the southern states. And I was using the symbolism of the blackbird. It's not really about a blackbird whose wings are broken, It's a bit more symbolic. Which, obviously, makes sense there. So, I like that he had written this song basically in support of African Americans who were dealing with, obviously, a lot of racial struggles and tensions in the southern U.S. of A. Let's see. That's kind of the biggest interest of the... Hold on. Although the 1985 Mr. Mr. song Broken Wings contains an identical lyric, Mr. member Richard Page had described this as a mindless, unintentional reference. It just happened. There was no meaning or purpose behind the two lyrics being. Okay. I did sing that. All right. Let's get into the next track here, which is going to be Piggies, which kind of sounds interesting. We got some Blackbird calls in this track. Are we going to oink? That's the wrong song. Sorry. I like that very classical harpsichord, clavichord, your mama's chord. Well, we did get some big sound effects in there. I told you we're going to get something. Little oink oink never hurt nobody. Except, when they end up in your frying pan. You know what I thought was really cool about this one is that if you remove the singing, it's basically like a classical quartet. A little bit of chamber music being played here with one of the clavichords, harpsichords, and then the strings, of course. Just the way that it all forms together, the little solos, the runs, dun, 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 just sounds so gracious and royal, if you will. And then the lyrics, just describing, pigs and their lives are getting worse, always having to play around in the dirt. Now, could this be another, I know this is another metaphor, but could this be kind of like Pink Floyd, Pigs, right? A little bit of something similar, a bit Orwellian, if you will. Who knows? We'll find out as we get into the lyrics here. But I like that song, especially because it was kind of a unique, we're taking classical music, but we're also kind of just tossing in a singer. There's nothing in there that makes it a pop song. You know what I mean? It's not like the Beatles took blues and just Beatleized it and made it a pop song or a song according to the Beatles. It's like a classical song. Just pop in one of the Beatles in there. Have you seen the little piggies crawling in the dirt? And for all the little piggies, life is getting worse, always having dirt to play around in. Have you seen the bigger piggies in their starched white shirts? You will find the bigger piggies stirring up the dirt, always have clean shirts to play around in. In their sties with all their backing, they don't care what goes on around. In their life, there's something lacking. What they need's a damn good whacking. I couldn't read. Everywhere there's lots of piggies living piggy lives. You can see them out for dinner with their piggy wives. Don't ever. Clutching forks and knives to eat their bacon. Eating their own. Okay. See? We're getting a metaphor. These are hold on. Let's read directly, huh? Written by Harrison as a social commentary, the song serves as an Orwellian satire on greed and consumerism. Among several elements it incorporates from classical music, the track features a harpsichord, orchestral strings, and the Baroque pop style. Okay, so I guess that's what I'm thinking of. Not really, even though it said classical, but more of a Baroque pop style, which are contrasted by Harrison's acerbic lyrics and sound of grunting pigs. Told you. It says that it is among the tracks on the Beatles that cult leader Charles Manson used as foundation for his helter-skelter theory. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. It says that it's an anti-establishment song. Piggies recalls Harrison's Revolver composition, Taxman, which also sounds like Batman. Harrison describes Piggies as a social commentary. He intended it as a light-hearted satire on consumerism and class distinction. The song references George Orwell's Animal Farm, of course, etc., etc., etc. It goes on from there. This thing, every song, by the way, has like a giant page on composition, lyrics, themes, etc. I'm not reading all that. I just want to get the meat. Give me that bacon. Let me know what you guys thought of the tracks. You can let me know in the comments down below. You can follow me over on Twitter, support the channel on Patreon, all of these things. But don't forget to press the like button. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you listening alongside me. And I hope you come back tomorrow. Bye, guys.